Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the World Championship of Call of Duty. We are here live in beautiful LA. My name is Bryce. Joining me here this time, not Ton, but Landon, returning.
Yes, sir.
To the casting world. How are you?
I'm doing good, buddy. It's fantastic to be here. It really is. Just the electricity in the venue, the way that people are kind of acting toward today. It's going to be a fantastic one. And based off the matches, I think it's fair to say we have a pretty good one on our hands as well.
Already, of course, we have had a massive upset. If you haven't seen it so far, of course, Fuego took down Gen G.
Yeah, right? That was not one that I think most people were predicting, and rightfully so. But I think it was Fuego won both hard points. They clutched out in the search and destroy, and I think it was Harry who had like an insane 1v1. So, my goodness, props to the guys on Fuego, as they are one of the teams who are kind of taking, what was that 4th seed position and making it work.
It's kind of crazy in Group B right now. I know we're covering a different group as we go forward, but
right.
Look at Group B, how it's already playing out, right? We thought Team War versus Enigma 6 could go either way.
Oh, yeah.
Team War got 3-0'd. Like, they just got absolutely wrecked. We thought maybe Gen G, Team War, or Gen G, Enigma 6 was kind of what we were looking for.
Right.
Already, it's gone into complete chaos. Enigma 6 and Fuego are currently in those top 2 slots. Do I think they're going to stay there? Potentially not. There's a lot of Call of Duty to go.
Yeah.
Gen G have the capability of very much bouncing back and beating both Enigma 6 and Team War. Team War could come back into this one. I don't know how they're going to end up playing. And Fuego, wild card right now. Who knows what they're going to do?
Yeah, like we were kind of even talking about Fuego in the green room a little bit. Like, how are these guys going to play? I think it was Mad Cat's first event since the PLQ.
Yeah, he
right?
was at Miami, but disqualification for this.
Right,
yeah.
But still, like it's been a long time for these guys. They've got that kind of veteran leadership along with a lot of young talent that a lot of people are very curious about. But you got to give them some props. And I know, kind of going back on the Group B conversation, right, with Team War as well. I was talking to Spaceman. He said that was not a fun series to watch. It was a hot 3-0. I think War had a few close moments, but for the most part, it was just straight-up dominance being shown from the side of E6. So, like I said, there's a lot of opportunities where things could fluctuate a little bit, but to no avail. I gotta say, we've already seen some very, very interesting matchups to start off today.
Well, here's the thing, right? We said about this coming into this event. This year's structure has been different.
Yeah.
These open bracket teams have not had the opportunity to throw down against the pros.
That's true.
This means the pros may underestimate them. They don't have as much kind of knowledge on these teams. They may not have watched the VODs. They may be underprepared. And every single one of these open bracket teams is gunning for the pros.
Oh, yeah, and like this is their opportunity, right? I mean, this is their prime opportunity to make something happen. Like you said, they haven't had the opportunity to play against them so far throughout the years. So if there was ever a time, it would be right now, right, where you're trying to make sure that your name is out there. This is your opportunity right here at Champs, the brightest of stages. And like you mentioned, right, you have the ability to, kind of play that underdog card. They have no idea what you're going to do. They have no idea what your strategies are, and that's the one positive. You have tons of Pro League VODs. You have tons of different, LAN VODs to look at for these guys. So, like you said, I'm excited to kind of see how the rest of them do. But that underdog card sometimes can play a lot bigger of a factor than people think.
It certainly can. And speaking of that, let's talk about the game we are going to be watching here. Reciprocity versus Legend Status. Now, this is another game, Landon, that we've spoken about saying could be very one-sided. Everybody's looking forward to seeing Dylan again.
Say, right? Yeah,
5 feet of Irish steel and sex appeal. The man was a god come at Miami, and everybody's looking forward to see what he can do at the World Championships.
Oh, that's for sure, man. I mean, this guy, if people weren't already looking at Dylan, they should be right now, right? After Miami, he goes on, what was it, 25-2 run versus Luminosity, and the finals position. So, I mean, my goodness, man, this guy is unbelievable. He's obviously one of the main guys to look out for Reciprocity, but also at the same time, the question has been, can Rec kind of get that consistency as a lineup, right? Can they have Zed, Whiskin, the boys really start to kind of look, more as a fine-tuned roster rather than just having one guy always to rely upon? So I think that's going to be one thing for Reciprocity. Is that going to be a factor here? Who knows? But kind of forward-thinking for the rest of the tournament.
It certainly is. Well, we're about to find out. Reciprocity, another big team in this tournament, about to start their run. But Legend Status stand in their way. How is this going to kick off? Could this be another upset? We're about to find out. As both teams, of course, trying to get that top ring control to lock down this first halfway.
That's going to be the factor, and if you're Legend Status, right, trying to get out early, trying to do something early is going to be crucial for them. I know a few guys to kind of look out for the Legend Status roster coming into this week is going to be someone like Foncho. Has a pretty big history when it comes down to COD, played for teams like Rogue and previous, like back in Infinite Warfare. So they do have some, defined leaders, some guys who have been kind of in the scene for a long time. But hey, like we've been talking about, like it's kind of been for a lot of the younger teams out there, starting off really in the hard point seems to be the blueprint.
There we go. Dylan, and he's going to get shut down. Of course, this is the most important rotation on
yeah.
this map. Trying to get into Garage, trying to get it locked down, simply because it is very easy to hold, and Alex tries to go to the front. He gets shut down as well. Legend Status are in a great position here, Landon. They've taken this. They are going to get a good amount of time, because this is a hard break.
Oh, yeah. It's not going to be easy, that's for sure. They're going to be relying off picks like this from Dens. Says goodnight to Phenom, and nearly has another one just in front, but a good effort from Reciprocity, but like we talked about, right? This hill is so difficult to break, and they're showing exactly why that is in fact the case. Zed decides to hop in, but he unfortunately falls, and back and forth we go. Legend Status, they're getting a majority of these seconds.
Now, here they go. Big push now from Reciprocity. They try to get into it. Alex manages to get that kill going down as well, and they push them out towards the back. Legend Status going to try and get maybe one last push in here before they rotate towards fences, but it is a full lockdown by Reciprocity, and they shouldn't really let this go as 4 members drop, and now we go for the fences.
Yeah, this is going to be the main one to be looking out for, right? Obviously, we talk about Garage is important, but if you rotate correctly, you get your kind of line sights locked down. Fences can also turn into one of those hills where the seconds just do not stop whatsoever, so you got to keep your eyes on Reciprocity, right? One of the first teams happening, rather with the majority of the players here. They should be in a good position to most likely get this done. Foncho is locked up inside of 10, and that's just a great break from Reciprocity off the start here.
It isn't. I mean, to be fair, taking fences control away that easy shouldn't be something that happens. Reciprocity, though, fantastic break, like you said, and now they're going to try and get back into it again. You know, Den is out here onto the well, and he's ended up getting shut down. It's all going to be on Legend Status, though. They've got a bit of a good position here. They can get a bit of a pinch going in. That kill onto Zed is actually massive for them. It's going to allow them to push now. Watkins has got streaks at the same time. Oh, sorry, it's not Watkins. It's Alex. Alex has the streaks. And it does seem like Reciprocity now maybe finding that next gear. We spoke about this before the game, right? We said Reciprocity are expected to win this. No matter what Legend Status do,
yeah, for sure, right?
You know, they can't really be criticized because this is Reciprocity, 4th at Miami.
Oh, yeah. I mean, these guys are incredible, as you mentioned, right? They just have so many different players that they can kind of tap into. And like we were discussing kind of prior to this series was if Reciprocity can get, you know, Alex on all gears, which it looks as if he kind of is for the most part, along with Dylan. And then also, you know, you talk about that combination with he and Zed and the Sogs. I mean, if Reciprocity can get a team kind of atmosphere going where they can kind of all be on the same page, all playing consistent, it is going to be difficult, not just for Legend Status, but for any team who faces off against them this week. So that's going to be kind of the main factor for them is team consistency. And like I said, Alex already with streaks. They're off to a great start right now.
Alex looking for a more here. He's going to attack 5 at the same time. That may end up being popped here just because he can probably get it again. So there's no reason for him not to do it, and they are really opening up here on Legend Status. I mean, the majority of Legend Status points have actually ended up coming out from that first hold on Garage, and since then, it's been a very dry game for them.
Oh, it absolutely has. I mean, Legend Status, you're looking at your scoreboard and you're saying, hey, it's been a while since we've been able to kind of fire up a few points, so for them, this kind of second set of rotation is going to be massive, and I think, you know, while obviously we're talking about middle, which is going to be coming up, I think their focus has to be on Garage, right? That is the one where you have to kind of bring yourself back into this. If you're looking at the scoreboard right now saying, hey, man, we haven't really got a whole lot of seconds, well, that is your opportunity. That is your chance to get brought back into this game, and that's what Reciprocity's goal is to do, is to make sure that they have the spawns for that, to make sure that their live is consistently easier, and you're looking at that top right. I mean, score streaks aplenty.
Well, Den's just getting a decent amount of time, so on middle, you know, it looks like the ring has just been held completely. Dylan actually ends up getting 2 with the Grand Slam, as more players should end up pushing through here, but you are right, Landon, you're saying, you know, this has to be a priority. They have to be concentrating very hard on how this one is going to work for them.
Oh, yeah, and we'll see how they can start to kind of manage their man count at this time. As I think, 3 go down, they still have somewhat of a good position in terms of this next hill. So while they do lose some seconds inside of mid, like you said, that's not their main focus. That is going to be this next hill, which looks as if Zed trying to limit a few in terms of that middle side. And like we talked about, they've got streaks aplenty for what will be an open hill just on the outsides of the garage, right? You have a ton of open space, and oh, pricey. Reciprocity, they're here, they're fighting it through, and like I said, they've got the streaks if need be in case Legend Status starts to contend a little bit.
Oh, there we go, incoming streaks as well. Trying to get him, managed to only get one there, but he will be calling that out to his teammates. Den's still alive with that ICR, by the way. He actually ended up pushing out with it, and I thought that would maybe be a little bit of a mistake for him, but somehow stays alive, gets back into it. His teammates are backing him up here at the same time, and maybe even see the Tempest come out. Watkins could pull out if he wants to. There's no reason for him not to at this point. They're so far ahead.
Oh, Wiskin. See if he can keep it up, right? He's kind of the main focal point right now that Legend Status was trying to shut down, but as soon as that occurs, right, 3, 4 go down, and it is just rinse and repeat.
Just want to point out here, Dens is 13-4. Zedenya is 21-13. dropping serious numbers, and that was a big thing. People want to see those players elevate themselves. I know we talked about Dylan before this game, but there is some serious talent on Reciprocity,
absolutely.
and that's what they want to see from it. Consistency throughout the tournament.
And that's what you want as the lineup who you talked about kind of has those storylines upon them, is you want to kind of have that confidence early on. You're facing off against a roster like Legend Status, who, to no avail, is the 4th seed in this pool, so you're thinking, hey, we should be kind of good for this game, but to kind of make sure that your practice early on is looking solid for the future games, which I'm sure is what they kind of have their eye on. But like you said, they have talent up and down on this group, and once they tap into it, it's not going to be easy. But you notice Legend Status, they're investing a lot. They're going to go and rock the TAC 5 boost, and we'll see if they can finally get some seconds on the board.
Yeah, I mean, that was a big hole for them. The fact that Lightning Strike did nothing and they had attack 5, Reciprocity will always struggle to break in defenses. And now they have the War Machine as well. Rise needs to stay alive here because at this point, start breaking out the War Chest. You've got to do so much against Reciprocity because even one big hold from Rec ends your game. And there we go, War Machine coming out as well. Just pumping those rounds down range, trying to get it from, and there's 3 players of Reciprocity in the tin. They can try to break out Rise and not able to kind of put the bottle back in. And unfortunately, it does mean that United come fighting forwards, and there's the Denu with 2, and now we move to Rock.
And the biggest problem for me in that situation, Brycey, was that Rise, granted, oh my gosh, using the War Machine, this is a great situation. He's got no one to follow it up with. I mean, everyone was down. He's in a 1v3 situation, pretty much a Hail Mary toss at that point, but no one is there to follow it up. No one is there for the seconds, and now you're thinking, hey, well, now the rotation's inbound. Maybe if he holds on to the War Machine, I think for Legend Status, it's just really a matter of a little bit kind of getting caught off guard. They're trying to utilize their specialists to the best way that they can, but it's not really equaling out to a ton. And at this point, being down the way that you are, it's pretty much just consolation battles.
Yeah, I mean, they're basically just having to break everything out here because they know how dire their situation really is.
Right.
And now incoming Phenom is only going to get 1 as well. Reciprocity only 20 seconds away from this one, and Wuskins has out his Tempest and just manages to get that headshot. He's got the connection of 2, gets a 3rd one as well, looks for that one, continues to lock it down. He's got a lightning strike out of it as well, continues to pump it, and that's 3 for Wuskins. That's going to be game. Incoming lightning strike and Hellstorm, and there's nothing Legend Status can do. Welcome to the World Championships, and Legend Status, welcome to the 100-point club.
Yeah, that is a dominant win, and that's what you want to see if you're a Rec fan, right? Getting off of the ringer, starting the way that you have off the starting lineup. That was key, right? All of the players were playing well. They were rotating effectively. Even when they weren't rotating, they already had the streaks. Pretty much just from the start of the game, this was Reciprocity's to lose, and they proved why that was the case.
Yeah, it's certainly so. I mean, you kind of expect it, though, right?
Yeah,
it's
right.
not unexpected at this point here. We expect in the group stages to be these kind of games,
Yeah.
These teams haven't had a chance to go to the pro teams, and Reciprocity, after Miami, everybody was talking about how great they were and how great Dylan was, and in this game, it actually wasn't Dylan.
Yeah.
It was Zed. Denz had a great game. His KD was way higher. His interaction is obviously way lower playing the ICR, but and we didn't get to talk about Alex either. Alex was doing great.
Yeah.
It was almost a different class of player, and I think that's the big problem for Legend Status coming into it is, where do they find the weaknesses in Reciprocity, because there aren't any.
Yeah, that's true. And I was going to say, like, the one point that you're looking at for Legend Status is, hey, if we can get this first hard point out of the way, great, because we don't want to face off against Wreck and Search and Destroy. I think they are the 3rd best off of this year in terms of S&D. So if you're Legend Status, you get through that first hard point, and you're like, oh, wait, we have S&D up next. So the job after the first game, it was a clean wipe for Rec, and I'd imagine the Search and Destroy, which is pretty much their better game mode of the two. It's going to, like, Legend Status are going to pull off something crazy.
Here's the caveat, though, right? Here is the other side of that coin.
Yeah.
Is we've spoken about Search being so game by game.
Yeah.
Like, some teams, it's just difficult to lock them down on it, and I was expecting more of the amateur teams this event to maybe that speed of the map that they slip on. I think hard points for the pros are pretty consistent most of the time. I always expect S&D to be the slip map. It used to be map number 3 that people used to talk about, but now I genuinely believe it's Search and Destroy. We saw that in our game here last time on Charlie Around. United lost their Search and Destroy. Legend States, their biggest opportunity in this is right here and now. It's map 2.
Oh, absolutely, right? Because, I mean, like, I think a lot of the maps that, like I said, like amateur teams really struggle with is normally that game 3. They're just not familiar with it. If they haven't been in the CWL, they're not constantly practicing control or uplink CTF of previous. And so I think, like you mentioned, Search and Destroy, this is their key. And like we talked about, it is unfortunately going to be Reciprocity's best game mode. And it's just pretty much getting to this point where you're thinking, hey, any positives, and they just start to kind of run out. So, like I said, I think this game is super influential for Legend Status. This could very well and probably will decide the series.
Yeah, well, we'll find out. Are Reciprocity going to give them a hot 3-0, or do Legend Status have it in them to push them further on here? Well, we're about to find out. The S&D is just about ready. And I think you're right with what you said here. This is all on legend status. Lose this map, it's a 3-0.
Yeah, it's looking to be that way. And I don't know exactly who to look out for legend status, just because I think coming into today, it's kind of difficult to like find their maps. But I know for them, at least previously, they're a very good search and destroy team. I actually had a chance to cast over them a little bit in some AM tourneys coming into this week. They did not look good on control whatsoever. And it was versus teams who are not here this weekend. So that for me is going to be a big factor, and only puts more pressure, puts the spotlight on legend status to say, hey, you don't win this S&D, it is probably through. And like I said, it's a scary factor to kind of come into a series knowing that already this week you're facing off against the number 1 seed, and it comes down already to just one game. That's what happens when it comes in a champs, man. Nobody's messing around.
That is true as well. You know, you got an awful lot of teams coming into this one very well prepped.
Yeah.
1 month from Miami is these teams, as they've got into it, they've watched the VOD, they've tried to eliminate weaknesses, and I also know, interesting thing, I believe almost every single team here has been working with a coach.
That's true. That's a good point. I mean, that's a great factor to kind of bring up. I think for legend status, they have one as well, but I think, too, like that's a great point to bring up. Like a guy who's watching your VODs, because a lot of these groups, too, they were just formed. Like a lot of these AM teams, like their first event together was at the amateur finals. So for them to have that coach, the ability to watch the VOD, the ability to even do some experimentation on the other rosters in your group, I think is massive. So I'm glad that you bring that up, because I think not just for the pro teams, but for the M teams, more importantly, they need to have some info on the other rosters while also trying to worry out or figure out their own problems.
Yeah. Not only that, but I think a coach comes in without biases.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And it allows you to work through your mistakes and tighten things up without any kind of preconceived idea of how well you're playing individually if you're a player on that team. So for me, I've always kind of advocated for coaches. You know, it's fantastic to see them make a massive comeback into the scene. And like I said, almost every single team here is at least trying to bring one with them or has been working with one over the last month. So we'll see how that plays out as we now, of course, go into Hacienda Search and Destroy. If you are just tuning in, this is Reciprocity versus Legend Status. Reciprocity opened up the hard point, 250 to 81, I believe the score was, or 82. Put them in the 100-point club, but do they have it in them here to do something on the Search and Destroy?
Yeah, that's the big factor right now. Legend status, it's going to be important to see what they can do. Looks as if Rise up, watching through that connector side. You see bombs are already down, and here come the 5 sets trying to initiate things. It will be Alex to finalize a few. Good work from Dylan. So 3 versus 2. We'll see how Legend status can start to deal with things. It's all on pure.
Certainly is, and it's not, well, there we go. I was about to say it's a 1v1, but it actually ended up finishing before we could do anything, and now that will be Reciprocity take one up, and the colours have switched around from the last time. You can blame your observer for that. But of course,
he's looking at us right now. Shout out to 90, man.
I'm blaming them 100%. Happened last game as well. I'm not having it. It's the World Championships. Bright colours. Reciprocity here is orange, but for this game they will of course be blue, and we'll keep you updated. Make sure you remember.
Exactly right. But let's look at this best play really quick. And this is the thing that I love the most about Dylan. He's just instantly gets from one engagement to the next, and it looks effortless. And that's not the easiest thing, because you have so many things kind of going on in your mind at that moment in terms of, hey, where are my teammates at? Where are we positioned? So I know in that situation it may seem, very slim, but Dylan getting involved the way that he did, it kind of came down to that 1v1, so it was crucial to have numbers, and Dylan's the reason why they had numbers in the first place.
It is, and here we go. It looks like another big push here, and both players are about to go down, and Waskin's trying to get 2 for it as well. Dylan putting the bodies in to help him out. Waskin gets 3, and Legend Status only have 1 player remaining. They're looking for him, Fatal like a fish in the water, hiding behind a rock, nowhere to go. In come Reciprocity. Dylan takes him down, 2-0 to Reciprocity.
Yeah, Fatal. Unfortunate, buddy. Like I said, he's looking at the overall kill feed and saying, what just happened to my teammates? How did we fall so early, and why did Wiskin just automatically become a beast when it came down to this round, as they just instantly engaged when it came down to that top hallway, and as he's going to find 3. So a hat trick in this round. Great work coming through from good old Wiskin, but that's a scary factor for Legend Status. You're down 0-2, and that was a very, very dominant round of which they got nothing accomplished, Pricey.
Yeah, pretty much. But again, we were hoping to do a little bit more out of Legend Status, and it may be too early to say in this S&D. We've had some very quick rounds, and it's hard to bring it forward as well. Waskin is going to get shut down by Fatal, so now Legend Status have a chance. They have the numbers for it as well. They have even more. It now goes to a 4 versus 3. Alex gets 2 with a nade. Unfortunately, one of them is Zed. It's now a 1 versus 3 for Dens. Can he use this ICR like a scalpel to cut Legend Status to pieces?
for that angle. He's also trying to watch for someone going for that bomb plant, because if so, he's going to be in a much better situation. Fortunately, he does not. He's stunned out, and it's back to the drawing board for Dens, as he's got a lot of work to do to try to do anything in this spot. Time starts to tick away. Here comes the engagement, and nothing gets found out as Reciprocity finally lose a round. So there is some positives. There is some good moments there for Legends, but it came with a few difficulties, even a team nade. But in that spot, Dens, there's nothing you can really do, and that was just good props and really kind of good situation for Legends to plant the bomb where they did. It pretty much allowed for Dens to have no point of views. He gets stunned out, and Legend status, it finally chalked one up on the board, which in this situation is actually a good thing. Chalking up normally is referred to as a negative, but in this instance, it's good.
Yeah, I mean, for Reciprocity there, Dens was never going to be able to pull that off. They knew where he was. They were going to shoulder peek him, bomb down. Unless they did something silly like over-challenge, Dens just didn't have a hope. But you know what? Big play for Legend status, bringing it back into it. It's not going to be a whitewash for them. And it looks like Reciprocity were kind of heading towards the A-bomb side, saw the amount of resistance there and decided to back off. This is now a big rotation towards B. Unfortunately, Legend status know their stuff on S&D and are heading the same way as well. There you go. There's a stretch from Tadenya. He's got reinforcements. I believe that Den's firing over his shoulder. Fatal not able to get anything going for us. Dylan's there actually with him. And that bomb is now down. This is technically advantage to Reciprocity, but they need to keep control of the bomb site and get a few kills. And there's 2 down already. Legend status now in a detrimental position. Not sure they can pull an awful lot out of this. Rise on the flank manages to get one, but time's ticking down. They don't have the bodies.
Yeah, they do none at all, and I think, one pick is all they've got up to this point. And good shots coming in from here. Shuts down Zed, but there's just too many bodies, Bryce. There's just so much work happening on that bomb site. So a decent retake there for Legend, but they just cannot get enough done. They don't have the numbers early, and we talked about it. They rotate toward this bomb site. Legend status were not prepared for it, and they find the nade. They find in combination with that the kill, and from there it was pretty much easy pickings. It was just utilizing your numbers to your advantage, and Zed as well, right? Having the cover from Dens. And this is just a good overall situation for them. They clearly have that plan drawn up and ready to go. And like I said, from the very start, as soon as the engagements began, Reciprocity was already having the numbers in their way.
They certainly were. And 3-1 now to Reciprocity. Let's see what Legend status can do on the attack. Which way they are going this time around. A little bit there with the cluster grenade. And it looks like they're being a little bit slow towards this push. Not entirely sure which way they're going for it.
So that's a line side I'd never seen if he can see all the way through the...
Are they missing a player? They are. That's the problem.
Oh.
They've lost a player this round. So it looks like they're in a bad position and they've barely even started.
Yeah, that's not favorable. You definitely need that extra player based on the way the game has been going. That 5th player means a lot. And it looks as if Reciprocity, they do get 1 pick. So imagine if Legend status was actually able to win a round in a 4v5 situation. That'd be very impressive. That'd be one that I'd write home about.
Well, now this is where it gets very, very influential. Can they get this bomb down? They can. Big push for them. Watkins managed to get that kill on the Phenom, though somehow gets out of there. And that's huge for them, because now they have nothing. Doesn't try to get through, but Fatal has that ICR, locks it, takes down 2. 2 versus 2 for them as well. Has to get out of there. In a lot of trouble for them. And it's going to be Alex that's taking him on. Who's that player coming around the flank? It's going to be Dens. Get out of it. Alex has managed to get one down, and there we go. Eventually, Dens takes him down. And Reciprocity get that retake, but it wasn't clean at any point.
It was not, I gotta say. I was impressed by Legend status, though. I mean, being in that 4v5 situation, for them to kind of get it down to what was a very influential final fight, gotta give him some props. Like I said, I don't know who exactly was gone there in that moment.
I think it was Funcho.
Was it? I was gonna say, I thought I saw on the kill feed he was switching some classes around, so...
I don't know whether he made a mistake or what happened, but he was not there at the start of the round, and that's probably why the hesitance aren't coming out of Legend status. Like,
yeah, they were like looking around like, hey, what just happened, bro? Like, why are you not in this round? And it's unfortunate, but regardless, though, Fatal having some good moments, but like I said, just not having the numbers in your favor. It's going to be now 4 rounds to 1 for Rec. We know this is their game mode of choice on a map where they're also fantastic at. Rec is looking to be in the driver's seat as we look toward that top right of the screen. Right, Wisconsin 6-3, Dens 3-1, Dylan even 5-3. I mean, that's a big thing, Bryce, that we've been discussing from the hard points down the search and destroy. Dylan is not the main guy in terms of just always lining it up in the kill feed. He's had his teammates around him, and they look like a really solid kind of overall unit.
Muskins been just seeing the animation there for a grenade coming out and decides to get out of it. Unfortunately, Zed didn't do the same thing, and now it's a 3 versus 3. That bomb is down by B, and that's not good news for Reciprocity. It looks like what they're going for here is kind of the wolf pack as we talk about, trying to find some kills. Den's ends up finding Foncho. And now they're going to be looking to trade this out because they know they don't have bomb. Eventually, they actually get the retake, and they can get the bomb back really easily. I don't understand that. Surely Legend Status knew where it was. Did they not see it when they went past, maybe?
I was going to say, surely they would have stayed there, at least maybe watch corners, look for a trade if they knew that bomb was down. But that rotation, the lack of vision there is so important. The fact that they don't find that is surely going to be what decides this.
Well, 1 versus 3 now for Pure, and down he goes. Alex gets 2, and it must have been. They must not have seen that bomb go down. I don't understand rotating to A if you know the bomb's down. They must have missed it.
Because, I mean, you can sit someone in water. You can sit someone kind of in any of those corners toward Rock Statue. I mean, it's not as if it's out in the open. It wouldn't make sense for them to totally rotate, allow for Reciprocity pretty much to have open area for that bomb plant. So, yeah, I think it was just a matter of lack of vision, just maybe not getting the call-outs and seeing someone drop that bomb, because that was their lifeline of that round. That was going to decide it. If they stayed in that area, they knew where Reciprocity was going to go. But 5 rounds to 1. Legend status. Can you get any positive? Can you get anything going your way heading into what should be a very difficult control?
Let's see whether or not they can get first blood, and Riser brings it. That's numerical advantage. That's traded back out here as well as both teams go at it. Hammer and tongs, and Fonto ends up getting the advantage. And now Reciprocity in a 1 versus 2, somehow making it work, and it's going to be Dens. Can Dens make this clutch to win this map?
They're probably telling Dens, hey, hang out, get ready for the plant, and then start to retake. There's no need to try to engage at this time. So bomb down, and we'll watch how Dens decides to play this one out. So making his way just through a few of those offices, or rather through Lambos, so he's going to have a decent vantage point. But that's the thing. As soon as he starts to fire away, Legend status, they've got 2 players there. There's 1, and there's nearly the second. A good effort there from the Australian Slayer, but just cannot get it done in the end. And Legend status, that's how you use numbers in that moment. That's how you use numbers on Rock Statue. And Foncho off the rip, as you were kind of calling it, Brycey. This was huge, right? They get this early team fight. The fact that he finds numbers is what allows for their lives to be a lot easier in that last spot.
And it's interesting because Dens was actually sitting on top ring as well, but he wasn't on the left-hand side where they wanted him to be. If he was actually with an ICR down that lane, he probably could have picked up both kills at the same time. But obviously, you know, hindsight is 20/20.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's difficult for Dens to make clutches when you've got an ICR in that scenario. You know, you saw there he was doing the old the trigger spam, trying to get his gun to swing round fast enough, just not quite able to. And Reciprocity though still on map point, 5-2.
See, they have pretty much a free bomb as well when it comes down to A. Zed going to go ahead and take full advantage of that, quickly punches in the digits, and now the engagements are about to come about. Ryza, he's waiting just outside of connector, but they want to try to go for that backside first. They know that's where a few Reciprocity players have to be lingering, so that's what they're kind of basing it off of. Player 1 and player 2. There goes the first, and now Foncho, last man alive from that particular point of view. He finds 1, so 3 versus 3, and Legend status, it's all in the Phenom, and there he goes. There he drops, as that is going to be Rek's game, and really kind of from start to finish, Brycey, it was all theirs. I mean, they had some good moments, like we kind of called out. It was Foncho having some bright areas, Phenom as well right here kind of at the end, but Reciprocity from beginning to end, consistency as a lineup, which has been the major topic for them, and they've been answering.
Yeah. And again, you know, Legend States we think is the best opportunity to get a map of Reciprocity.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you know, Reciprocity just are that good.
Yeah.
And there was a few opportunities for them there as well. You know, Den's got left in the clutch situation a few times, which we expect because he's playing a more slower ICR role for him. So it's not everything you can kind of expect him to always clutch for it, because when you're in that scenario, you basically need 2 things. You need to be able to kind of speed, and you need the enemy to keep guessing where you are. If they know where you are, they're just going to shoulder peek you. They'll play the time. They'll play numbers. It's always pretty much impossible.
Yeah. And that was the thing, too. Like, even in those clutching situations, Dens was looking pretty good. Like, he kind of entered through. Like you said, he has the ICR up close. Normally, you're not going to get a whole lot of work done with that, but he was still kind of getting into those 1v1 fights. So, like I said, if you're Legend status, though, right now, you're looking at these first 2 games, and you're saying, hey, a few positive moments, but not enough, kind of carrying us into the control, which I said kind of coming into this is my biggest worry for them. I know control necessarily hasn't been the best game mode by any means for Reciprocity. I think that's actually their worst right now. But still, they have Pro League experience. They're facing off against the best teams in the world, week in and week out, whether at events or obviously in the Pro League. So they have the experience needed, and it's going to be on Legend Status to try and just hold on for as long as they can.
Yeah, it certainly is. Well, we'll find out how Map 3 goes right after this quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you soon. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Call of Duty World Championships here on Charlie. We are going into our map number 3, and it is Reciprocity versus Legend Status. Currently, 2-0 to Reciprocity, and it hasn't been difficult.
Yeah.
Do they end it here? My name is Bryce, of course, the Legend Landon. What do you think?
I appreciate that, Bryce. Thank you for the time.
I already like you so much more than Ton. You're a better caster. You're a better person.
Wow.
You know,
this is great. This is fantastic.
I'm so
I mean, I don't see Ton around here, so I think that we're good to say that. Not
I
that
wanted him to return.
I was going to say exactly right, but regardless, though, as you well called it, right, at this point, Reciprocity, this series has been pretty easy for them. They looked fantastic when it came down to the hard point. They lost a few rounds when it came down to Hacienda, Search and Destroy. And if you're a fan of Reciprocity, your big question coming into this week was, how is the teamwork going? A one-man show? No, at least for their first game, it has been Dylan who's been playing great, but the rest of the players have also kind of been in there as well. As we'll watch the opening breaks and instantly Legend Status go down.
Cool. That was the snap by Dens. And that's going to be a very fast first. They've actually given it up. Legend Status aren't even going to re-challenge A. They're not even going to bother. They've already rotated around. And it looks like Reciprocity are just going to leave one player on there for the slow A tick. There's getting another kill. And it's all going the way of Reciprocity. And now, looks like they might start moving on to B. Den's actually going to go back because he knows there's somebody in his flank. And unfortunately, that's that same scenario again, Landon. ICR versus Saul close range. Saul wins.
That's what you want. Your Legend Status, look for any single little bit of momentum that you can grab as we discussed. B, now the main target. They've got a few players locked inside a ladder room. However, it's not going to equal out to a lot. Like we said, man count advantage, time advantage right now for Rec as they've already made one tick through, and they're about to get another as there goes Ryza taking down Fatal. Ricey, at this point, you're looking at an 0-2 scoreline, an early dominant control for Rec, and you can't have team kills like that.
You really cannot, and this was fast. This was a fast control.
They lost 6 players, I think, Bryce. 6 players dropped in that last round.
Yeah.
That's it.
That was not hard for Reciprocity. We barely even got to talk about the strategy they were using because all they were doing was winning all the gunfights.
Yeah.
And in the face of any strategy, that works.
Yeah, it definitely does. And Rec will take that every single time if it's given to them. But like we discussed, 3 fall off the start and outer ring, and they just grab it. No problem. Hey, no problem. Literally no issue for them at all. And if you're Legend Status, you got to be looking at some... Okay, well, Wiskins already has streaks, so there's that. I was going to say, Legend Status, okay, maybe you make your way toward pipes off the rip. You try to get a few fights, but they've got streaks. They've got a really good setup right now if you're Rec, and we'll see if Legend Status can get something done, as it looks like they have a decent spread, not playing all that aggressive. Well, player number 8 was the only one who was sent toward a control point off the rip, and here come the streaks, which are going to lock them in. And you know how important these breaks are, Brycey, right? Obviously, in that last round, Rec finds a few, instantly cap that first hill.
Yeah, and Watson actually hasn't died yet, so I'll be very curious to see whether or not he can pull off a flawless game. Right now, it's a possibility as Reciprocity go to work. I'm just trying to hold them off here, and now obviously things coming into A. There will be Legend Status grabbing this first one here, and you've got to be careful. No matter how dominant you're being in a game, you get one bad wipe, the other team can fast capture. So they've always got to be careful here. Waskin's actually still alive, by the way, 7-0.
I was going to say that's one of the main storylines right now. Can Waskin stay flawless? I'm sure that's a facet. Does take quite a bit of HP loss, but has a few teammates just nearby. Dylan takes down Phenom, and like you mentioned, right, you can't get all that comfortable as there's a few from Legend Status, nearly a second one, as I believe Waskin has finally been taken down. The final boss is dropped, and that could be what Legend Status needs.
They don't have the kill advantage here at the moment. But that's the benefit of control. One big push, one swing can change everything for you. They're actually going for the shoulder, peeking in and around elevator. They're just waiting this one out now. You can actually see them starting to get onto it. Legend Status are going to have a bit of control here and ends up giving it away. And that's because Waskin has his lightning strikes.
That's always nice if you're Rec, right? You have those in the back pocket if need be. Players start to push up a little bit, instantly grab that man count and allow for Legend to pretty much just have to separate, allow for them to to distance themselves back. What you notice, right? 3 players all in their spawn. Phenom is the only guy here, and he can't push out Bryce because he's got no one there. He's got no teammate support, so what they're relying on is to get a few fights done in middle. If that's the case, then they can begin to collapse, but they're not even winning those fights.
Certainly are not. And they just haven't really got a toehold into B this entire game, and Reciprocity once again turning that kill feed all orange, 17-7. And Legend State is nowhere even near this point at the moment. Now 5 left. Oh goodness, big stack going in the corner. Doesn't matter, the Danger's ready for it. Just keeps pre-firing, trying to stay alive with 5 health, and now he's getting out of there. He knows players trying to hunt him down, and eventually goes down. Only 3 members left of Legend Status, however, and they all go off the map. That will be 2-0 to Reciprocity, who have so far made this look easy.
Yeah, that's for sure, right? I mean, these guys just looking incredible right now, and like I said, if you're Legend Status, it is just not a great time, right? You're constantly getting harped on, and it's even been in these initial fights. Okay, Dylan. All right, just doing Dylan things. I forget what you call them off the start of the broadcast, but look at this. 4 in the final, or in the best play of the round. It just looks effortless from this guy, constantly rotating from area to area and always seeing a player. Dylan, one-man wrecking crew. He's 14-5, just having a joyous moment and just really not having anybody contest it.
Yeah, I mean, Alex and Waskins both, only got 2 deaths, 9-2 and 7-2. And I think right now, Reciprocity going to be looking to just completely shut this one down and put this game to bed. Already got that first tick on the way. Big push coming out from Legend Status, trying to get some bodies into it here. It's getting a little bit more favourable. 2 teams, 2 kills down from each team. Reciprocity looking for it. That's their second tick on the A. Dylan pushes out. He gets another one. Dens locks it down at the same time. A is now locked. They're going to go for more kills. The Denya! That's a snap that shouldn't have happened. I don't know how on earth he won that. 2 players shooting at him. Tac 5 now for Reciprocity as well. A's about to go down. They're on to B as well. That first tick is being stacked. So it should be a fast first tick. And look at that. All the kills for him again. Alex is actually throwing his Hellstorm in for the Duke. Gets Riser. And that's going to be second tick. His incoming lightning strike. That's going to go and completely devastate around the steps. They know the reinforcements are coming in. End up getting Waskins though. That's not good for them. And now Legend Status have a little bit of a gap to retake. Yeah, this is their moment, and they've got to hold on to this tick for as long as you can. 2 minutes and 10 seconds to be exact. And if you're Wreck, it's just a matter of time, right? How do you decide to topple a few of these cards just in front of you as Dylan off the engagements takes down 2. Zed is here for the nearly trade, but 21-12 in man count. Legend Status. Can they even get here in time? That's going to be the question. As Fatal does take down 1, though. Dylan's got double his team's kills. He's on 20, everybody else on Reciprocity is on 10. His interactions are going through the roof. So Daniel brings out the War Machine. It's 16-9 here. Legend Status is actually holding on, though. They haven't let this one completely slip. It's not out of the realms of possibility quite yet.
It's absolutely not, though. Wiskin actually makes his way, I believe, through ladder room, and while he does fall, he took down a huge pillar. Pure was looking very solid for the moment. He was kind of one of the main lines, which is silenced Reciprocity up to this point, but 13-6. Obviously still down in man count, but a much better situation in which they were in previously. But the problem is, right, they lose a few players, and now it is down to the final 3.
And there we go, 11-2, 11-1, and Riser is all alone. And that may even tick before he gets there. It is going to, and that will be Reciprocity with the hottest of 3-0s to kick off their World Championship campaign.
Yeah, they look fantastic, right? I mean, every single game of the week got a chance to watch them in from the hard point, obviously to the S&D, which was not necessarily our biggest concern, right? They are one of the third best team, or rather the third best team in Search and Destroy right now, but it was a matter of how are they going to play in control and the hard point, how are the respawns going to look, how is the team consistency going to look, and clearly it is fine, at least for the status. And where, you have kind of a weakened NV team, you have a talented Sage roster, so if you are the boys on Legend Status, this was your key to maybe get in there a little bit early, take a few maps, get a little bit warm, because this is going to be, for a lot of people's opinions, and I think ours as well, the most difficult competition of the entire pool. So if you came out here, looked pretty decent, it would be nice, but like I said, they've got some solid rosters who also want to try to get their hand into those top 2 positions.
I mean, for me right now, the biggest issue I have is how do you judge Legend Status?
Yeah, that's true.
They come against Reciprocity, and we know Reciprocity are that good.
Yeah.
But I don't know how Legend Status stack up against the rest of the group.
Exactly.
Because let's be perfectly clear here, that was a smashing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Reciprocity just blew Legend Status out of the water.
Yeah.
It wasn't close. it at no point was close. I don't know how to judge it, you know. Reciprocity are an elite level team. They are one of the top 4 in the world, you know. Miami, they look fantastic.
Yeah.
Coming into this event, people are expecting them to do very well. And Legend Status, your 4th seed, you're coming against some of the best. I don't know, man. It's just difficult to see where they stand.
That's a good point, right? I mean, we're obviously talking a lot about Reciprocity, how they're looking for the rest of the tournament. You did just take down a 4th seed, and I agree. It is very difficult to judge. Is that team consistency going to be lasting for that long? Are we going to see players perform the same way they did throughout the rest of this tournament? Probably not to that same extent, but it is kind of difficult to assume. But it is nice, right? If you are a Rec fan, if you are just, kind of watching this and thinking, how are Reciprocity playing? They at least are gaining some practice, right? They're getting their shots hot, and it's nice, in the early stages. We've already seen teams like Genji start to fall. I think I heard Maven screaming earlier, which probably indicates there was maybe another surprise victory for somebody. But these day ones, they can be rough on you. But Reciprocity, that's good for them, right? They get that easy W, and now they're looking forward even stronger.
They certainly are. All right, we're going to go to a break. When we come back, more games here on Charlie.